Hey friends, thanks for joining me today. This is one of my favorite videos to film of the entire year. It is the coziest, most comforting fragrances. And the trouble with this video is I have way too many to suggest. I've narrowed it down to the 10 that are speaking the most to me today when I'm filming. Tomorrow it might be a different 10, and the day after it might be a different 10. But I will list additional fragrances down in the description box as well as the pinned comment as recommendations that I don't talk about in this video because there are so many beauties to explore in this category. It's one of my favorites. So with my top 10 for today, and I'm going to come straight out of the gate with maybe my top recommendation of the bunch. I'm not going to make y'all wait till the end. We're going to go right for it. And can I say that I was today years old when I realized that I may be pronouncing this wrong, but I'm stubborn and I'm going to stick with the wrong pronunciation if it is wrong. And that is from Xerjoff, and it is, I've been pronouncing this Shunkoin. However, when I Googled it recently online, there is a temple, and I think it's Japan, called Shunkoin. Shunkoin. And maybe that is what this is named after. I don't know. If one of y'all knows out there for sure, do let me know. Not guessing. Like, have you talked to a Xerjoff representative? Do you know how to say it? So I'm not out here looking crazy. But for now, I'm going to stick with Shunkoin. Like I'm gonna die on that hill. Or is it die on the sword? Fall on the sword, die on the hill. This fragrance is probably one of my favorites in all of my collection. It's been in my top 10 or number 11 if it's not in the top 10 since I purchased this. One of the creamiest, most zen-like fragrance experiences like of all time. No one knows the notes. It's part of a collection where the notes are vaulted. I mean, talk about trying to manufacture some mysteriousness. So if I had to say, I would say the base of this is a very creamy sandalwood. There are maybe other creamy tones on top, like even a creamy, soft coconut. I definitely get something in the coconut direction here. I get a tea-like note, like a green tea, a soft, or maybe even like a jasmine tea. So pretty. Some folks pick up something in the Play-Doh direction. I don't get any Play-Doh, at least not today. And others pick up vanilla. But for me, the primary notes are that soft green tea-ness, something in the creamy coconut direction, and a very smooth, soft, creamy kind of sandalwood, very gentle. This fragrance is nicely wearing. It gives you a decent scent bubble. It's not hugely projecting, and it does last quite a bit of time on skin. Just beautiful, feels so enveloping and cozy, and it's a classy kind of cozy. I should have started off the video by saying that each of these fragrances is a different kind of cozy. And I should have also said that I tried to stay away from gourmand fragrances. There might be a couple that fall into close to gourmand territory because it's easy for gourmand fragrances to feel cozy and comforting as we associate them with edible comfort foods, right? This one just smells so classy and almost like opulent spa. Like with spa oils, you can get aromatic oils, sometimes citrusy oils, or these sort of creamy, soothing smells. This is in the latter. It's so beautiful and understated, which I love about it. Doesn't scream, it's not loud, it's not complicated, but it is one of those that you just want to keep sniffing yourself because it smells so dang soft and beautiful. Shunkoin or Shunkoin, depending on how you'd like to pronounce this. I'm sticking with Shunkoin, y'all. Number 2 on my list is grossly underrated, criminally underrated, bombastic side eye underrated. Actually, let me be fair. Some people, they just don't like it, but I think it is quite beautiful. I enjoyed it when I first got it, and then it grew on me even more the more I wore it. This is Juliette Has Ode to Dullness. Love the name of the fragrance as sort of a tribute to everyday routines, things that bring us comfort that aren't glamorous, glitzy, or ritzy. I love that this fragrance has a freshness and cleanliness to it without smelling laundry-like, which is difficult to do. I can think of a couple other fragrances that accomplish that, like Ceramic by Andrea Mack, if you've tried that, in that same vein. But this is creamy and cozy and musky, and it has almost like this, I call it like a creamy soapiness. And I think specifically of creamy soaps like Dove, not your super soapy, clean, aldehydic types of soaps, like a Dove soap where there's cream, it's intended to moisturize your skin, and it has a freshness, but like a depth to it as well. This has star anise in it. I can't say that I picked that up. I'm sensitive to that note. Sometimes I can deal with it, and other times it's just very off-putting. I don't get anything like that. Cashmere flower, there is sort of a very soft almost like a fuzzy texture to this without being powdery. Sandalwood and tonka bean are the main notes that are featured. And it feels like you've showered, you've put on a cozy, fuzzy, maybe tracksuit or hang around the house kind of combo, top and bottom. You know, your hair's up in a bun and you're about to sit on the couch and watch yourself a comfy movie. And you want to be cozy in your blanket, but you smell fresh. That Dove soap is coming off of you and you just feel soft and cuddly in a clean way. Beautiful, and it has a nice scent bubble and decent longevity, not all day, but it'll take you through a good sort of 6-ish hour period. And it's on the more affordable end, you all, for niche fragrances, because we know the price tags are going crazy. Okay. Yeah, so check this out if that kind of description appeals to you. Underrated. One that has just captured my heart. Y'all, I was going to bypass the recent releases from this house and I'm kicking myself. I thought this was my scent of the day. I reached for a fragrance that looked just like it that I had on my tray that had an accompanying oil. And I put it on and I wasn't even looking at the names on the bottles. And I'm like, this doesn't smell like I remember it. It's nice, but that really wasn't what I was looking for because I wanted to be able, try again. I wanted to be able to wear this as my scent of the day and share with you all, this is my great scent of the day. But what I ended up putting on, which is also lovely, is Missing Person from Phlur with the oil. This is some thick oil. This is thick. I don't know what I think about this. The jury's out on this thick oil, but I did wear it. I'm all shiny and glistening from the oil on my chest. All right, but back to the fragrance that I want to recommend. I thought I was dousing myself in this gorgeousness, Vanilla Skin. First of all, I slept on these bottles. They looked not that great online, and then in store and in hand, they're actually super duper mega cutie bottles. Cutie patooties. This is such a warm, enveloping hug in a bottle fragrance. Definitely a warm vanilla, like vanilla that you would use in a dessert as you're mixing the wet part of a dessert before you bake it. It's still in the mixing bowl and you add the vanilla in and it's almost like cakey, like there's a batter. You get a little bit of that nice, beautiful ambery tones. And amber is just amber smells like this color. It smells warm. Well, sometimes it depends. Sometimes it can smell a little bit like pancake syrupy. Sometimes it can smell like straight resins, like sticky resins. And sometimes it smells like this color, golden and warm. There's a little bit of woodiness that grounds this fragrance. And that is really what stands out to me. Warm, batter-like vanilla, amber, and some woodiness in the background. And it's everything. It is everything you want your skin to smell like, but better. Soft wearing fragrances, as most of the new Phlur fragrances can be. And this lasts on me, the times that I've tested it, I would say 4 to 6 hours or so, and I can't wait to wear it some more. Give this fragrance a huge thumbs up as a cozy fragrance here in the fall. It has those vibes, y'all. As the leaves change, as you're staying home more, it gets darker earlier, it takes longer to brighten up in the morning, and you want something cozy and warm and sweet. There's something really sugary in this fragrance without being too literal in the sugar direction. Oof. Good. This next one is polarizing in that some people pick up like a medicinal tone out of this or get a very strong black tea note. I happen to like it, and I can't say that I get anything off-putting off of this fragrance. And this is from Atelier a newer release called Blue Madeleine with the gold flakes in it. I think this fragrance is so unique and interesting, a very new kind of offering. Absolutely sample this one first because, you know, you're either going to really enjoy it or be very off-put by some of the tones in here. This gives a very sort of thin milkiness and a steeped tea accord. Like once you've steeped the tea, it's not as strong and literal, but it has some tones of that. It has a tiny slight bit of smokiness way in the background. I wouldn't call this a smoky fragrance by any means. It's not smoky, but it does have some tones of smokiness in the background and a woodiness. And it's got this, hear me out when I say this, and I hesitate to say this in videos because people are going to be off-put, and it's not off-putting. There are some plastics that smell really good. You smell them and you're like, oh, that's an interesting smell. This has a little bit of like a fresh plastic smell, but not off-putting in a good way. And so I'll just leave that at that. For those of you that know what I mean, you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, you don't know what I mean. what I mean. But it all comes together in this really lovely fragrance that reminds me of sitting by a window when it's rainy outside and you've got your big fluffy sweater on. It's got a big neck on it, like a big cow neck, and you're getting whiffs of a delightful light fragrance underneath the sweater that isn't, I wouldn't call, even though it has a milky tone in a tea, I wouldn't call this gourmand. There's nothing sort of sweet or edible. I don't want to eat the fragrance like I do with some of the others. Like Vanilla Skin, even though it's, I don't know if you can consider it gourmand, it gives me like, it makes me salivate because it's delicious. This one, it's more cozy. It's cozy and comfortable and familiar yet strange. And I'm going to just leave it at that. Definitely try this one out first though. Another tea-ish fragrance and a perennial in this category, not just for me, but for a lot of folks out here on YouTube. I can't speak highly enough of Jovoy Remember Me. So again, you have to enjoy a tea fragrance. If you don't, this isn't going to be for you, and you have to enjoy some spiciness. It's cardamom and ginger that are featured in this fragrance, and so it's bright, and it's accompanied by citrus, lemon and bergamot. So it's bright and zingy and happy and a little spicy at the top and in the mid experience of the fragrance. As this settles down, you get this sort of clean woodiness. It's Earl Grey tea that people pick up. I drink a lot of different kinds of teas, but I couldn't tell you it smells like Earl Grey in particular. It just smells like tea, like a tea shop would smell almost, with the spiciness. It's known to have a lactonic nature to it, so this sort of milkiness. I would even say some days it feels creamy depending on the weather and how it's wearing on you. And it has vanilla, and it may be the vanilla that's feeling a little creamy along with the sandalwood in the fragrance. This is beautiful, really soft. It's got just the right amount of spiciness. Some people have compared this to Starlight from Xerjoff. I do think there are some similarities in the fact that they both have a cardamom note and sort of a brightness that reminds you of everything you love of holiday seasons. But this one is so comforting and cozy. Again, another great sweater weather fragrance, great bedtime fragrance, great fragrance to wear when you just want to be contemplative and reflective, stare out the window and think about your life, everything that's gone right and wrong. Jovoy Remember Me might do it for you. And the name itself is just such a great choice for a name. I used to know the story behind the name and I don't anymore, like the reasoning for it, but make it whatever you want. Remember Me. What a gorgeous fragrance. Nice substantial bottles from Jovoy. There's a number of other beauties from this house, but this one is a standout for me. Try Fire at Will, which is like this brown sugar, beautiful vanilla fragrance too. Awesome. I think this next one is newer in the Seven Virtues lineup. I picked it up this year. It's called Amber Vanilla. I'm not so crazy about how simplistic these bottles are, but that's okay. Don't always love the artwork. These are, I think, pink carnations, which is a note that's featured in the fragrance. So Amber Vanilla is a bit of a misleading name because one of the key notes for me is sandalwood. There is an amberiness in that there's this sort of golden warmth in the fragrance, deep, dark, golden warmth that comes from something like an amber note. Vanilla, can I say that I pick up carnation? Carnation is a really interesting note. And the way that I learned about carnation is through Eternity from Calvin Klein. And there's a very distinct punchy carnation note in that fragrance that's powerful and strong, and there's no denying it. There is sort of a warm floral nature to this, but I definitely can pick up a combo of amber and vanilla, but I would say it's all sitting on this foundation of a beautiful sandalwood, and sandalwood is not always featured as a note when people talk about this fragrance. It's so warm, Your Skin But Better. It reminds me a lot of Vanilla Skin, except this one, whereas Vanilla Skin features almost like this salty woodiness in the deep dark background, this one stays warm and woody the entire time, and it's deeper on amber, whereas I think Vanilla Skin features vanilla more. So if you understand the depth that amber lends to fragrances and the sort of thickness that amber smells like, you might understand the difference between these. But this is beautiful, can be considered a Your Skin But Better fragrance, like an amplification of the beauty of your own skin with some feminine tones. This one leans purely feminine. Vanilla Skin is feminine too, but it's got some unisex-y type of features with the kind of woodiness that's in that one. This one is all femininity right here. And it's soft and it's cozy and it reminds me of beautiful sweater weather scents without leaning too much in any kind of gourmand direction at all. I would not consider this a gourmand fragrance. I would consider it a warm, amber, slightly floral, vanillic fragrance. Really good, really beautiful. I sniffed this in store, sprayed it on my skin, let it dry down. And as soon as I smelled the dry down, I was like, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. Beautiful. It took me a while to really get to understand this next fragrance. This is Seta from Moresque. It smells initially like a luscious Play-Doh. So you have to like that kind of tone, that almost like bready, doughy, Play-Doughy type of tone. And the more I wore this and the more I played with it, the more I really came to understand that this has a really very light, like thin ribbon of like this myrrh resinous type of deal running through it that gives it intrigue. It's largely a vanilla fragrance. There's some sandalwood in this as well, although I don't really pick up a ton of sandalwood in this perfume. I pick up more vanilla, a soft, gentle amber. Like I said, that little ribbon of myrrh that gives it interest. And these notes that give it this little kind of like a doughy texture in terms of a scent. There is a slight saffron to pick up that once I knew that there was saffron in the fragrance, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm smelling. And a tiny, a little, like a dash, like a teeny pinch of citrus to add some more intrigue and depth and character to this fragrance. So think of a really lovely smelling, luscious Play-Doh. That's the best way that I can describe it, with that sort of myrrh running through. And it's so soft and enveloping and very, to me, like a feminine hug, a soft feminine hug. It's like a silk robe kind of a hug. Ooh, so good, so beautiful, so soft wearing. This is a delicate fragrance, but it does have some projection. When I first wore this, I said that it was too soft to the skin. Well, what did I know? The more I've worn this, the more I realize that it does have at least a nice scent bubble off of you and will smell comforting and intriguing and like a hug in a bottle to those around you. One of the sleeper hits of the year, and this has made its rounds on YouTube. People are discovering this anew, although it's not a new release, including me. And I didn't get a big bottle, but I will eventually when this one runs out. This is from Rania J, and it is Musc Moschus. At least that is how I'm going to pronounce this fragrance. And mostly this is vanilla and musk, and it's a really soft, sexy vanilla, a very fluffy, soft, feminine musk, almost like a clean musk, not laundry-esque, but you know, musks have different density to me. There are some that are a bit airier, like super airy. There's the middle version, and then there's the thick, dense musks, like your Tiziana Terenzi musks. This is like in the middle to light. And there are some fruity and citrus tones in here that make this lean in the sweet, comforting, cozy direction, a feminine vanillic musk or musk vanilla fragrance. And it's everything. It evokes so many memories for me. It immediately makes me think of warmth and comfort and all things beautiful and happy, a warm bed, a warm dessert coming out of the oven, even though it's not dessert-like, but the feeling that you get when you know you're about to have a comforting dessert, a beautiful hug from your friend who smells amazing and feminine and sweet. This is so beautiful, so beautiful. I can't say enough good things about this. This is a fragrance that I have ranted and raved about. And I try not to do that. I try to only do that about fragrances that I truly love, and then be more objective about fragrances that I just love or just enjoy, and give you opposite, like opposing opinions on them. But I have nothing bad at all to say about this fragrance. It is just pure perfection in a bottle in terms of cozy, skin scenty, musky, vanillic fragrances. Again, touches of soft, delicate fruitiness and touches of citrus, like touch. Just clink. Ooh, everything. This is everything. I saved the two most expensive ones for the end. Worth every penny of retail, but definitely try to find these on sale or discount code or something. Everything will be linked down in the description box, and you can shop through those. I will try to get you some good prices on these as I can find them. This is Initio Psychedelic Love, one that tends to be sold out, so I'll have to see if I can find this on sale anywhere or use a discount code or something. The fragrance here, I initially picked up like an almondiness when I first got it. And the more that it sat on my shelf, there's heliotrope in the fragrance, which sometimes can come across a little bit powdery and like an almond powder. As it has sat more, I pick up more of these beautiful soft florals, definitely vanilla, and a creaminess. There's such a beautiful creaminess to this fragrance in the base. It has myrrh and sandalwood, so there's a little bit of touches of that in the background. For me, those are not prominent. It is mostly like the vanilla, the heliotrope, and these really bright florals. If you have smelled orchid notes in fragrances, like in Tom Ford's Velvet Orchid, it's almost like that kind of floral accord in here. The notes listed are rose and ylang-ylang, but to me, it smells like a beautiful, warm, feminine, pink smelling orchid note, pinky purple orchid note. And it's good. And it's good. And it's such a sensual fragrance. I would call this even a sexy comforting fragrance, like a date night comforting fragrance. There's a come hitherness to this that is just beautiful. And it's very long lasting, warms up so nicely on the skin, and loved by people that smell it around you. You'll smell feminine. You'll smell elegant. You'll smell inviting. You'll smell like the belle of the ball in this beautiful, soft, yet alluring fragrance. It doesn't scream. It's not loud. It's not edgy. It's just sort of soft and like a shawl, like a really warm, beautiful shawl. This next one is stupid pricey. For 50 mils, it's $375. So again, I'll try to get you a discount code below for at least some off of that. I don't see this go on sale often, and I don't think I've seen this on any of the discount sites so far. If I find it, I will link it. And this is from Widian, and it's Luban. Now, this is an extrait de parfum, and that does not mean that it projects across the room. Let's get it straight. Extrait means that there is a really high oil concentration in the fragrance compared to an eau de parfum, even a parfum version, or an eau de toilette or cologne version of fragrance. So I think people hear extrait and they expect it to be beast mode, and that's just not the case. In fact, this is a very sort of soft wearing fragrance. It has presence and it'll give you a nice scent bubble, but you're not going to smell this across the room. And that's part of the beauty of this. It's a very understated fragrance. I would say test this first because it's maybe the most controversial of the ones that I've mentioned today. You will smell this on opening and think I have lost my mind. You'll wonder why I'm recommending something that smells so bland and odd. However, well, it's not, maybe not odd. It's just not, you're not sure what you're smelling. It's not off-putting. And then as it dries down is where the magic of this comes through. It's one that I sampled and nearly passed on because on initial sniff, I was like, what is this? And then 20 minutes later, I sniffed again and thought, oh, now I get it. So this house, Widian, uses some beautiful materials in their fragrances. I was attracted to this because of the description of notes: strawberry, pink berries, gardenia, different kinds of roses, oud essential oil, tonka bean, vanilla, white amber, white musk, sandalwood. I mean, it just smelled like, how could you go wrong with this? I will tell you, I don't get any of the fruitiness in this fragrance at all the different times that I have worn this. I get, on the dry down, about 20 to 30 minutes in, this absolutely luxurious amber vanilla fragrance. And I'm not sure which is more prominent, if it's the amber with the vanilla on top or the vanilla with amber as a sort of secondary player. But it is luxury on the skin. It's as though you bathed in the creamiest bath with touches of resinous amber in it, a beautiful, soft, elegant vanilla, creamy, milky materials in the bath, and you stepped out like a goddess of comfort and joy, just smelling exquisite, beautiful, refined, elegant, magnificent. Magnificent in its simplicity. This is not a complex fragrance at all. I mean, the notes are complex, the materials are complex, but the way that it plays on you is like a second skin of a gorgeous, soft, absolutely opulent, but in a simple way, like an edited, restrained way, amber vanilla fragrance. Glorious. It smells how the bottle looks. Smooth, creamy, delicate, and just absolutely gorgeous. Get your nose on this one. Try it. There are samples out there on Lucky Scent, on Twisted Lily. You should see samples. There might be samples on So Avant Garde. I think there's samples on Scent Split. So try this first before you spring for the full $375 for 50 mils, because that makes a full-size bottle $750. Think about that. But anyway, gorgeous. And there's not a full-size bottle. There's not a 100 ml bottle. It's just a 50 ml. I'm doing the math conversion for you all, friends. Those are my top 10 recommendations. Everything will be linked in the description box. I'll put some additional recommendations in the pinned comment and in the description box as well for you to explore. Please let me know what you think of these selections and which one of these you've tried and enjoyed. You can also let us know if you didn't enjoy it. That's fine too. All opinions are welcome down in the comments. Thank you for hanging out with me. Take care.